Hello, world. This is Coach Baker. I'm here with the Coach's Corner. I got the original Coach's Corner founder, Jeff Davenport, and we have a very special guest representing Sierra Vista and Buena High School, Coach Tommy Fernandez of the Buena Baseball team.
Woo! Yay!
Welcome to the Coach's Corner.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner.
Welcome back. I know
he's done like
he's
3
been here.
interviews this season.
More professional setting here, more professional
Yes,
on the field.
yes. Well deserved. You're having a phenomenal season. We wanted to have you on to be a guest with another Coach's Corner just to talk about playoff baseball and just how your season's gone. It's been really a remarkable season.
It has been a remarkable season. A group of 16 boys and all wanting to play for each other, just have fun, and like I was talking earlier, they made a big jump from last year to this year. Their physical maturity, their mental maturity, it's just made a big difference in the whole year. So it's been awesome and a lot of fun to be on this ride and this journey with these boys.
Yeah,
they're the ones that do all the work. So
what do you credit for that jump in? Was it their heart, their mindset, their hustle? What was the difference between last year and this year, hitting the 20-win mark? We'll talk more about that in just a second.
Well, I think all of what you mentioned. I mean, honestly, because most of them were there for the off-season programs that we were doing. A lot of sprinting, a lot of lifting, a lot of long tossing. Just testing the mind. And that's what baseball does. It'll test your mind. It'll make you question whether you really want to play baseball or not. And they all hung in there. They all worked hard, and I think all those things that you touched on all of them really accepted that challenge and just kind of came together.
Before we started rolling this, Coach Dennis talked about a champion mindset. There's something about a mindset that when you have a team that does what the Buena Colt baseball team did this year, hitting a milestone that no one can remember this team ever doing before, getting 20 wins in the regular season. Looking at that mindset where you have a string of 11 straight victories, you win 13 of your last 14, it was an unbelievable finish to the season. But I want to go back to the beginning of the season. What were some of the things that you saw toward the beginning that were some losses that ended up affecting the team? How did it affect the team? And what was the switch that ended up getting them to getting that winning mindset, that championship mindset?
Well, so a lot of, like you said, we talked a little bit earlier, right? We had a really key loss at the beginning of our season. Not that one would anybody want to remember, but like I said, that's kind of where that I think that's where it started. Like, wow, like this happened to us. Because like I told the boys, in the past we've always talked about how good they are, and I told them we needed to stop having that talk, and they just needed to start performing like they're really, really good. Because that talk is, trying to elevate your guys, you know what I mean? But I think it was just time for them to perform, and I told them we didn't want to have that conversation anymore moving forward, because in my opinion, not biased, but just my opinion, the majority of the time they're going to be the better team. I wholeheartedly believe that. And it was just about time for them to go out there and prove it. And so, like I said, when we went into losing that first regular season game, moving on to our second that I discussed earlier, that was a big comeback win in the top of the 7th for us. And that was kind of a little bit of that momentum we were looking for. We still had a couple of hiccups. And then, we had another hiccup, which was at Vista Grand. We played horrible. We only had 1 hit in that game and got shut out. And Kai threw an excellent game. And then after that, they just started picking it up slowly but surely. And then once we got to region, I think most people know what happened there in our first region game. Coming back, Nate with the walk-off, and we just didn't look back from that point, And it was just their mindset, I think, and really, I'm going to say the championship aspect of it really has to be credited to their unselfish play. Unselfish play. As a coach, I look at a lot of mannerisms, because not everybody's willing to bunt. Who wants to bunt? Who wants to give up their at bat? You know what I mean? But I did it with the majority of them. It didn't matter if they felt or if I thought they were a superstar. It didn't matter.
Right.
And you can see those guys, and not only that, but I could see them buying into it, because when one of your really good hitters comes to you and says, "Hey, coach, if he gets on," he's like, "Let's bunt." He's telling me, "Let's bunt," versus me telling, you know what I mean?
Right.
To me, that's a team buying in. Another guy, same thing.
Yeah.
As we move on to the season, he's like, "Hey, coach," he's like, "I'll get it down." And that's what you want, that unselfish play, because that's how things are going to get done.
Right.
You know, and then we had another moment. It was Austin. We were in Nogales, and we were kind of starting to put it on them a little bit, and we had the bases loaded, or we had a runner on third. I know that for sure. And he came up, and he hits a deep fly ball, and you can see him kind of jogging, knowing that it's going to get caught, and he's watching the runner at third. And as soon as I sent him, he just pumps his fist like that. You know what I mean? And who's really going to give a fist pump on a
fly
on
out?
a fly out, a sacrifice fly, right? And to me, that those are defining moments that the kids were unselfish. They allowed the statistics to just kind of take care of themselves. Not to say that they're not watching. Everybody's watching, right? But it's not like they were up there, and I can see their demeanor too when guys are throwing balls. Are they really going to go and chase stuff when they know they shouldn't be? I can see how their bodies move at the plate. Like, no, I shouldn't have swung at that, and they lay off. I know they want to, but they know that they have really good hitters right behind them. So they just kept on passing it on. Like I told you guys earlier, when your leadoff guy leads the team in RBIs, that's something to be said right there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's,
No,
I know a little bit longer than probably what you wanted, but there's just a lot that goes into this, and I know there's a lot that people don't see. And I think it's very important for these kids and for people to understand who they are as ball players, and they're really, really unselfish, and that's been amazing.
No, I'm so glad that you said all that, because you really shed light on the unselfishness and how your championship mentality, or the championship position that you're in, and being the top team in the region, is largely based off of the unselfish players, and players putting the team over their individual statistics or individual glory. And that's what's necessary in every championship or playoff team in any sport. You definitely got to have that. And as a coach, you know, and also as a coach, you know, in order to be that good, you have to have great players. You alluded to it when you said that you want your players to have the confidence to know they're the better team whenever they go out onto the field. And I know that builds confidence in you as a coach. But can you tell us who are some of these great players that you have, for some of those, for people that maybe haven't followed Buena baseball throughout the regular season, but they're going to tune in for the playoffs because they realize how good we are and all that. Who are some players that deserve some attention out there on your team that's putting the work in?
Man, hopefully I don't forget any of the players here on this in this interview here, but
bring up the roster on the laptop.
Here we go.
But I mean, you know, I can start from the top, just from the lineup, because it stays pretty consistent. I mean, like I said, Nate, 33 RBIs, 30 plus hits on the season. Amazing.
As a leadoff hitter.
As a leadoff hitter. You know, I don't know where he's at statistically. I don't really go and look at the whole things, but I know he was leading he was up there at the top as far as RBIs going. And normally, if you go really look at and break down the statistics, you're not going to find leadoff guys with those kinds of RBIs.
Yeah.
And he'll probably match up against other teams like 3, 4, 5 hitters. And we're getting that at the leadoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Austin Cushman, pitcher, shortstop, great hitter who bats number 2. Then you got Bryson, who, like I mentioned, played sparingly last year.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. 3 home runs. You saw the grand slam at Flowing Wells.
Mm-hmm. I called the grand slam.
We were flat that game. As a coach, it's important to know the temperament of your team.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we were flat, and I explained it to the boys. One of them says, "Hey, coach," he's like, "I ain't gonna lie." He's like, "I'm a little," and I'm like, "Guys, you guys got to get it together. Got to get it together." And so I kind of let them kind of play through a little bit, and it wasn't going well. We ended up we started off 3-0, I think, second inning, third inning, whatever it was. I had to pull them off to the side and kind of had to get aggressive with the tone,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then next thing you know,
Top of the 4th.
yeah, it was top of the 4th. Okay, yeah, top of the 4th. Jeff remembers well. Yeah, good. And you know, we just put up an 8 spot there. You know, and with Bryson's grand slam is kind of what put us over the top. All we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pitchers and defense took care of the rest, which is in a team-oriented setting. And then you go to
definitely a great moment of the season for sure.
Definitely. And then you go to Brandon Brown, who's our number 4 hitter, who's been consistently our number 4 hitter. You know, he's put up some power numbers, been consistently hitting, and you know, for him to bunt or get things down, hitting runs and stuff like that out of the 4 hole,
Mm-hmm.
that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Batting over 400.
Batting over 400. Yeah. Angel, who plays a wonderful outfield, pretty much can get to anything. Flying in the outfield, for everything, even if it's missed, you just see him laying out his body. And then also as a pitcher this year, he's been very critical. Kai Erlmeyer, one of our top pitchers, him and Austin both, plays a wonderful left field for us too. Come through with the bat. He had a game-winning hit against who was it against? No, it was Nogales.
Okay.
It was Nogales when we won 5-4.
Okay.
Yep. So that was a critical one, and like I said, you have Aiden, you have Aaron, you have Cole, Skyler, who's been an amazing runner. Matter of fact, he's the one that came from first base on Nate's double to have the walk-off against Cienega.
I got you. So total team effort. You got a lot of guys.
Total team effort. I mean, I know, there's, we have Hunter who's pitched for us and played some solid first base. AJ, who's had some spot starts, and he's done really well with his spot starts. Hitting over 400 in those spot starts that he's had.
Okay.
He had a huge hit in Nogales when I brought him in because we had a long inning, and I wanted Kai to go get warmed up so he can keep his arm loose because it was a really long inning. He ended up hitting a triple in his pinch hit at bat. So those are special moments that will help your team when you have guys that can just kind of come in and get it done for you.
Right.
So it's like I said, it's just been an amazing year.
Yeah, sounds like you got confidence from the top of the lineup to the bottom, which is good.
Yes.
And how are you feeling about your playoff hopes and aspirations? What's the future for Buena Baseball now that the regular season's over?
Well, I mean, feeling good. I mean, we did a little bit of live yesterday. The guys looked really good. Worked on a few things with the pitchers. Hitters got to see some live hitting. That went really well. With us having roughly a week break, it's hard to tell. Because you don't know if you're going to hit that rustiness in that one game that you're going to get, or if we're still going to be hitting on all cylinders like we were before the regular season ended.
Yeah.
So time will tell.
Now the one game you're going to get is going to be home, but it's also going to be on a Saturday.
It is on a Saturday.
What is the different mentality going into a normal weekday work schedule for these student athletes versus a Saturday game, which will be at home this coming Saturday, 11 a.m.
11
first
a.m.,
pitch?
yes.
This is going to be on Cool FM Live. It's going to be everywhere, and we want everybody to show up for this game.
That would be
What
nice.
is the mentality going into how many Saturday games do you normally have? Usually it's for tournaments and stuff on the weekends that you do, but those are at the beginning of the season. I don't even remember the last time that you had a Saturday game.
Yeah, regular season, we haven't had any Saturday games with the exception of the tournaments, like you said. So that's something we're going to talk about today and going into the week, right? Because obviously it requires good sleep Friday night. I don't know how nervous the boys are going to be because obviously it's a playoff game, so I don't know how much sleep they're going to get.
And an 11 a.m. start
An 11
versus
a.m.
a 4
start.
p.m.,
Right.
5 p.m., 6 p.m. start.
Correct. So the body has to get adjusted. They're used to being in school, getting moving, getting on a bus ride. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but something we're going to talk about and kind of make sure that they have their routine of what they need to go through. We'll be at the ballpark at 8:30. Getting ready, getting loose, getting some BP. So that way we're ready to go. So we'll see how they respond. I'll be able to tell Saturday morning once they show up.
Definitely feel better being at home, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Definitely at home. Home support. Hopefully a lot of people will show up for this,
as a matter
because
of fact, 10-1 at home this year.
Yes,
right?
we have been pretty dominant at home, and this is the first time we've hosted a playoff game since 2017. So it's been a few years, right? So hopefully we get some community support and people will come out and cheer these boys on.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. You heard it here and you heard it from Jeff. Saturday, 11 a.m. at Buena Baseball team that's 10-1 at home. So if you want to come out and be a front runner and root for the home team that's probably going to win, this is the time to do it, right?
Yeah,
absolutely is. And knowing that, again, you have a 20-win season, 10 of those came at home, that means you were dominant on the road as well.
Right.
You definitely had a good amount of wins as well on the road. But to have that home game, to have all the people watching this right now who are going to be there rooting you on, whether it's through their Facebook link with Cool FM or they're in the stands, which we hope to have.
Yes, definitely.
We still don't know who you're playing yet because that won't come out until Thursday, you said?
Correct. The play-ins are on Wednesday, so once that gets done, then they'll hold the live bracket show Thursday morning. So Thursday morning we'll know who we're going to play.
Well, we're all waiting to see what Buena's going to do come playoff time. This coming Saturday is going to be absolutely awesome. Coach, before we wrap this up, there's always two questions that I ask on every Coach's Corner. The first one is, unfortunately for all of us, our sports careers will one day come to an end, but what are some of those tangible things that your student athletes on the Buena High School baseball team can learn and have learned that will carry on with them no matter where they go in their life, in their career, throughout the rest of their life?
My biggest thing is adversity. This game will humble you. You just got to learn how to persevere through it. In life, it's going to hit you with the same things. You're going to face adversity. Like I told him before, you may lose a job, you may lose a loved one, things may just not go your way. But I still use baseball in my life skills now, and especially even as a coach now, right? Because I was talking to a coworker the other day, and it's like, hey, you got to talk to your people, you got to know how they feel, you got to know what's going on with them to be able to get the best out of them. And that's kind of what I tell the boys, but adversity is going to be the biggest thing, because life isn't simple, and you got to be able to figure it out. Baseball is not simple. You got to learn how to figure it out, and that's why hitting is not easy. It's the hardest thing to do, and they just got to figure it out.
Well,
do they get help? They get help.
I love that.
But
I love
that's
that. Figure it out.
And they've done that the entire season.
They have done that the entire season.
Because of your coaching and the amazing staff, by the way.
The staff that I
you put
have
together
is absolutely knowledgeable and A+. It's just been awesome. Those guys know what they're doing. I try to stand away from them I got my pitching guys, and I try to stay away. Sometimes I'll make a comment, but I try to walk away because, they're handling that. And, Ryan handles our defense, and Jeff handles our situational catching kind of stuff and everything. And just collectively, there's a lot of baseball knowledge there. So it makes my job that much easier.
Well, and as a first-year coach, getting the 20 wins there. Before we wrap up, again, that final question. You've already been asked it once this year. Coach Tommy Fernandez, the Buena High School baseball coach, looking ahead to that playoff game this Saturday, what is your all-time favorite sports movie?
Like I answered before, Field of Dreams. It's just epic.
A true baseball blue blood. He picked the baseball.
If you build it, they will come. And this is gonna sound cheesy, but for me, it's like if you teach it, they will come. With the kids. It's a passion of mine, and any kid that comes and wants to learn, I'm gonna teach it. Doesn't matter the skill level, but most of them start to love it and embrace it, and that's the way I look at it.
Well, the dream season will continue
Yes.
this Saturday, 11 a.m. as Buena High School will be hosting a home playoff game. Don't know who just yet. We'll find out Thursday morning as all the brackets are released. But you need to make sure that you tune in or show up for this game Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Mark your calendars now. It's going to be absolutely awesome, Dennis.
Yeah, let's get after it. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate
you,
guys.
Jeff.
Can't thank you enough.
Once again, this is Cool FM Live Sports with the Coach's Corner.